Well, hello, and welcome to the Ram Show. It is Sunday. Why do I want to say, is it August?
Sure is.
Yep, August 26th, 2018. I almost said 2017 right there. I should really look at the date before I start the show every week. Because I always say it, and I always don't know what it is. So, anyway. So, Zach is here. And hopefully this all works out, but we'll see. So, interesting story before we get started. So I had a wedding last night, and we were in a barn kind of like structure thing, one of those metal barn structure things. Anyway, so the area that I was set up, we had all the lights on, and a couple people came over and they're like, hey, can we, turn off the first set of lights? You know how to do that? I'm like, I have no idea. So there's a breaker panel over on the wall and everything. So what does the guy start doing? He starts flipping switches, right? Well, you can probably...
I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest he probably flipped the wrong one.
Yep. So entire system shut down. Now, here's the thing, right? So I've been wanting to get like a mobile solution for the DJing stuff, right? Because, a laptop's just easier to carry around and stuff like that. But I love the performance that I get from a full desktop. And so what used to be annoying was that Maverick, my other system that I was using, that was my primary system, doubled as my DJ system as well. So every time I do an event, I'd have to unhook everything, take the system with me, then bring it back, hook it back up. Well, now that we have Redmond's just dedicated to stay here. And so I actually put a 250 gig WD Blue SSD in Maverick. And so that's the boot drive. And then there's a 320 WD Green, which is a storage drive for all the music and stuff. So it actually works out pretty well. And then it's got the GT730 in it. So if I'm doing like music videos or anything like that, I've got a decent GPU for that for the most part. Because that's more than enough for that. So, but... This reminded me of something. I used to bring a UPS with me to the events. I really need to start doing that again. Because in that case then, the UPS would have just taken over and we would have been fine. But, of course, the system comes back up, right? Now, it's got an SSD in it, so normally it would only take about 10 seconds to reboot, right? Oh no! Guess what Windows decided to do?
Do tell. Do tell.
You can probably guess at the most inopportune time. Because that's always when it works.
I'm going to go with it restarted for an update.
Yes. Yep. Brought it back up. Oh. Do not turn off your system. Windows is installing updates. I'm like, great. Awesome timing, Microsoft. The perfect time for you to decide you need to do Windows updates. Because, again, it always happens at the most inopportune times. So. Apparently that whole algorithm of, deciding whether or not we need to restart... Well, okay. The system got shut down abruptly, like it shouldn't have been. But anyway, that's besides the point. But, yeah. So, it's like, great. So, pulled my laptop out. Get that all plugged in. Get the music back up. Things like that. But... yeah, that was my excitement for yesterday. So, if you hear stuff in the background, I do apologize. My door has been removed because we are doing some maintenance on it. So, normally I would have a door to block some of the sound, but I don't have that today, unfortunately. So, just bear with us. Anyway. All right. Ready for tech topics this week, Zach?
Yeah, ready enough.
Okay, there is a doc ready to go if you want bullet points. That would actually probably be great so you can follow along, but that's, I guess, up to you. So
that might take a few years to open with the current performance of my work connection.
So, a little tease for this week. So, what do we got coming up here? So... get this, not one, not two, but 3 telecommunication companies had a security breach, right? And it all pretty much revolves around the exact same thing. Then,
we have our favorite companies, lovely.
Then we have something kind of cool that we're going to talk about. I don't want to give too much away. Of course, Microsoft news this week. An update to net neutrality. This is kind of cool. And then Verizon actually did something that's pretty appalling. Even for...
What, you mean like they always do?
Yeah, but this one is even worse than I think, like, normally. So, we'll see what you think when we get there. So, anyway. But we're going to start off with this. Security researchers found vulnerabilities at AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint that could have exposed customers' data. Because that's totally awesome, right? So, security researchers uncovered security flaws with systems with both AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile. 3 of the largest telecommunication companies out there. So, first question, Zach, how does this even happen?
Heck if I know.
And the best part is, right, so it's all around the same premise, which we'll get to in a moment. But yeah, so anyway, so because of the security breach, it could have left customers' data exposed. Now, BuzzFeed was actually, it reported 2 flaws. So it reported a flaw with T-Mobile, which was actually an engineering mistake, they say. And so basically what happened, it was between Apple's online storefront and T-Mobile's account validation API, and it allowed for brute force attacks. Okay? Now, here's the thing about this. So, brute force attacks on T-Mobile, AT&T, and Sprint's network. Okay? Now, we'll get into that in a moment here, right? So, now, see, AT&T, again, had a similar problem, right? So, it happened between phone insurance company, a phone insurance company, Azurian, I believe is how you pronounce that, and AT&T customers. And basically, there was an online claim form, okay, that would allow anyone with a phone number to access a form. So basically, if you had a customer's phone number, you could get in, and then that form would allow you to brute force attack your way into somebody's account. Now, both companies, T-Mobile and AT&T, fixed their problems after being contacted. So at least they were on the ball about getting it done after they knew that there was a problem. But this is one of those things where you should know. I always come back to this. You should know what's going on in your network. You should know where your security vulnerabilities are. Would you agree?
That would be a reasonable assumption of a huge national company with thousands upon thousands of employees, but I guess not.
Yeah. So now TechCrunch reported hang on. Okay. TechCrunch discovered the one on Sprint right here. I wrote this weird. But basically, there was a flaw with a intranet, basically, for Sprint. Yeah, so it was an internet staff portal at Sprint that they were able to gain access to. Now, this happened because of weak, easy-to-use usernames and passwords. So, I don't... Well, okay, but see, here's the thing. What do you do for a username? There's only so many different types of combinations that you can come up with. And usually when you're a company, you keep something pretty, you have a format that you follow. Whether it be first name and full last name, whether it be first name dot last name.
That's true, but if the passwords are strong, there shouldn't be a problem, right?
Well, that's a good point. Yes. And you would think that most companies would employ some kind of complexity that needs to be put for the password. Needs to be so many characters long, needs to include a capital, needs to include a number, needs to include a special character. Because even adding a uppercase letter greatly increases the amount of time it takes to brute force your way in. Then you start adding things like numbers, you start adding things like special characters, and that time just keeps going up and up and up. So I don't know if it was that they didn't have anything in place or what exactly. See, because I don't know what that means. That's kind of a vague statement to say weak passwords and usernames. But that's what they said. Now, here's the other thing that could have helped, though. and that is two-factor authentication, which apparently was not a thing. And I'll let Zach explain.
Which probably should have been a thing.
Probably should have been. You're right. Now, Zach, would you like to explain what two-factor authentication is?
Well, so when you have two-factor on, you'll be asked for your password, and then you might be sent like a text message on your phone or something in an email with like a code that will further prove that you are you, because not only do you know the password, but you also know the second code that presumably is sent to a account or device that only you possess.
Right. Now, here's the problem with two-factor authentication. While it greatly increases the security, the problem is that like SMS messages and even like emails can be intercepted. So it's not perfect. Your better option is to use some what the devil is that app called? Google has one where it changes the token every
Google Authenticator.
Yeah, Google Authenticator. And so it works like two-factor authentication, but basically what happens is it regenerates a random code every, like 5 to 10 seconds or something like that, greatly improving your, greatly improving the security. So, now, because of this, being able to get into the internet, it allowed for access to customers' data from Sprint, Boost Mobile, and Virgin Mobile, because I guess Sprint has they're probably a parent company to all those. But that meant that anyone that had access to that portal then could actually go in and make changes to customers' accounts and stuff like that. So now, a Sprint spokesperson actually did confirm the vulnerability. They did say that they didn't believe that any customer data was affected, so that's good there. And they said that they were working on a fix. So, which, okay, sure, you're working on a fix, but, I mean, it sounds like T-Mobile and AT&T fixed their problems after being contacted pretty quickly. Now, I don't know, because this was last week. This was on, well, no, this actually was just a couple days ago. Saturday, actually, is when the article was written here. So, who knows if they actually have a fix yet or not. But here's the other thing to keep in mind. Vulnerabilities aren't necessarily breaches, but they can lead to breaches. So,
or an avenue for breaches to occur.
Exactly. And that leaves the avenue open for those who shouldn't be in there to be in there. So, anyway, we've had a lot of security, because I think we even talked about, we talked about some security stuff with Comcast the other day, where it was basically the same thing, brute force attacking their way in. And you mentioned something that I thought was good, was why is that actually even a thing? What would be the reasoning behind being able to brute force your way in? Why are there no limits in place? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. That is, I would still say that.
No, and I would agree with you. What is the reasoning behind having a form and being able to basically spam it and brute force your way in? What's the point behind that? I mean, I can't imagine that putting some kind of limiting, a limiter in would be that hard. And I'm sure somebody has already created the code. It's just a matter of implementing it into your code. But like Google does it, and I'm sure what else? Twitter probably. Banks are pretty notorious for doing it, which is good. So anyway, but I don't get it. I don't get why these big companies are like, oh, we've got a ton of customer data. I don't understand why they're not securing it better. So, did nobody learn anything from the Equifax hack? Apparently
all they learned was that it wouldn't happen to them.
Yeah, until it does. And then they're like, oh, crap, what do we do now? Well, better get PR on it. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't understand why security is not a more prevalent issue to companies. Because it seems like that would be something. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. What do you think?
You are right.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy, but it was like... And I'll be honest, then again, okay, so we are a, shall we say, smaller quote-unquote company. So I'm sure that there are some areas where we could probably implement some better security into some things. But, I mean, if we grow, we'll look into those things. But security definitely should be a thing, so anyway. This is kind of interesting. We're going to move on here to something else here. Zach, okay. Well, oh, shoot. I don't know how this is going to work. Okay, Zach, here's what I want to do, okay? I want to check something here. I want to see what the delay is like on your end. So
it's kind of subsided a bit these days. These days, that was a stupid thing to say. At the moment.
Okay.
Kind of.
Here's what we're going to do. Zach, when I say go, you say go. You ready? Go.
Go?
Okay, so a couple seconds here. Which isn't horrible. I thought it was more real time than that, but I guess that makes sense. So, all right. So I don't think this is going to work. Well, I'll ask you anyway. All right. Zach, in your opinion, out of the Microsoft operating systems, which one is the best? Of all time.
Operating systems? Out of all operating systems?
No, of the Microsoft operating systems. So Windows. Out of the Windows operating systems, which one, in your opinion, of all time is the best? Go.
Killing me here. Because I happen to quite like Windows 10, but as we all know, it has problems that are difficult to ignore.
This is true. This is true. Okay, do you want me to go first?
I think that in its time, 7 was so good. 7 was so good. Some people still prefer 7 to this.
Okay, 7 is not bad. I will give you that. No, okay. Greatest Windows operating system of all time. You ready, Zach?
What? Don't say Vista.
Windows Vista! I'm just kidding. Windows 95! Oh, wait, never mind. No. No, actually, okay, if I had to pick probably probably the best Windows operating systems, I'll give you Windows 7. Windows 7 wasn't bad, but I think probably my favorite Windows operating system of all time was Windows XP.
And I will give you that one too.
Windows XP and Windows 7, those were two really, really good operating systems. I would say that Microsoft was pretty on their game at that time. Windows 10 is not bad, and it would be great if we could get rid of all the telemetry data. But I still have to say, probably my favorite operating system of all time is Windows XP. But we're going to jump back a little bit here. We're going to go to Windows 95, because I didn't know this, and you can let me know what you think, but apparently Windows 95 is used as a yardstick for what's possible on modern devices and platforms. Which, okay, I guess? I don't know. What do you think?
Tough call.
See, I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know why you would use Windows 95 for that, but I don't know. But apparently, the operating system is popular enough to appear actually on, this is interesting, Apple Watch, an Android Wear smartwatch, and even the Xbox One, which, okay? I don't know if that's actually true. That's what's written in the article. But apparently it either samples it or uses code from Windows 95. I don't know. So, here's the thing, though. If you wanted to go retro, right? You wanted to run some really old retro computer games. What would we... I can't even think of it. Can you think of any like super retro like computer games?
I don't. I actually don't really. I don't do retro games, so I don't. I don't have anything in mind. But what are you getting at?
Well,
What are you
okay.
getting at?
Here's what I'm getting at, right? If you wanted to play those, right? There's now an app.
Everybody knows Oregon Trail. Talk about that one.
Okay, the Oregon Trail, right? Basically, if you wanted to play that, right, and you had the old version of it, there's now an app that can actually run on Mac OS, Windows, and Linux, and it's basically a Windows 95 box on an app. So it's like an emulator, basically, but it's like, as far as I know, kind of a full-fledged Windows 95. Like, you open it and you've got a Windows 95 box.
Environment.
Basically, yeah, you have like an environment. So yeah, so Slack developer Felix Reisenberg, I believe is how you pronounce that. He's responsible for developing it, and it's based on an existing web project that supports Windows 95, Windows 98, and others. And here's the cool thing: it looks like the source code and app installers for the project are on GitHub. So if you wanted to go download like the installer for it for your operating system, head on over to GitHub.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the apps function just as you'd expect them to. So you can, open up. Now, the only app that I would say probably doesn't work well would be the installation of Internet Explorer in there. You'd probably be able to open it, but it probably wouldn't go into anything because that version of like Internet Explorer is so not supported anymore. So, not to mention, I'm sorry, I mispronounced the name of that actually. Actually, it's Internet Exploder. I don't know if people know that, but yeah.
Yep. Little known fact, that one.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Quick pop quiz, Zach. So no. we've covered this before, right? Do you remember the little dog in Windows XP?
I do.
You do?
Actually.
Okay, do you know what his name is?
No way. I don't know his name.
Any guesses?
Fido. Just kidding. That's
Fido.
Not. It's not. What is it?
Take a guess. It starts with an R.
I don't know.
Rover. His name is Rover.
Rover. Great.
Okay.
That sounds like a dog name.
I think Windows 95 had it built in. I know Windows 2003 did. Do you remember the awesome little assistant animation things?
Do I remember what?
Okay, so in Microsoft Word, right? Like the 2003 version, right? There was the little paper clip, and then there was like a little magic dude.
Oh my god, the paperclip.
Do you remember what the paperclip's name is?
Clippy.
Okay, no, it is actually not. It is actually not Clippy. Okay?
I swear it was called Clippy.
No. Everyone called it Clippy, right? I don't know where that started from. Everyone called it Clippy, but his name was actually Clip It. That was what his name was. Clip It.
Okay, fine.
But I don't know where. I'll give you Clippy because that's what everyone called him. But I don't know where that started. But no, his name is actually not Clippy. It's Clip It. So I don't know if it got lost in translation somewhere.
I'm still going to call him Clippy.
This is like, okay. This has absolutely nothing to do with tech, but there is a grocery store downtown. It's been here forever, right? And when I was a young kid, when my grandfather still lived here, and he was still alive, I believe it was called Easter's. And then it turned into Econo for a long time. And then it changed names to like Payless, and now I think it's like Randy's Neighborhood Market or something like that. Anyway, my point is like, the name has been changed so many times, I'm so dumb with the name changes, I'm just like, I'm calling it Econo. And we're going with that. So, I think that may have happened with, like, the whole Clippy thing. Somebody was like, oh, it's Clip It. And now everyone's going to call it Clip It. So, even though it's, Clippy. That's what, Clippy. And then it got changed to Clip It? No. Okay, okay. His name is Clip It, but then everyone changed it to Clip E. There we go. Okay.
Why are we talking about him anyway?
I just, well, we were talking about retro Windows and stuff like that. So, anyway. Back to the Windows 95 emulator, though, here. So, here's the cool thing. The app is only... Well, any guesses? Any guesses?
Nope.
Okay. It's 129 megabytes.
Wow.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's Windows 95. It's not... Well, that's a good question. I wonder how large a typical installation of Windows...
I wonder how full-featured it is. Like, surely it doesn't include everything.
I think it does. Once running, it only takes up around, get this, 200 megabytes of memory.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool.
Well,
yeah, and that's... okay,
kind of reasonable.
but hang on. That's even running all the old Windows 95 system utilities, apps, and games.
I mean, that's an amount that would be consistent with a machine from the time, so...
Right, okay, but see, here's the thing, right? So it's based on existing web projects, so if it was based on a web project, I can see why it probably would be that small. But let's see here. Windows 95 system requirements. Let's see here. So, this apparently... system requirements for installing Windows 95. So, personal computer with a 386DX or higher processor. Excuse me, I have no idea what that actually means. What is DX? Do you know?
It's a CPU.
Is it? Okay.
That's what it is.
Oh, really? Okay, so that, like, ranks, like, where? That ranks below, like, it's Celeron and a Pentium, correct?
That I have no idea.
Any guesses on how much memory you need?
I'm gonna go with not very much.
Okay,
Gosh,
what's...
It'd be like, is it less than 100 meg?
Oh, it's way less than 100 meg.
32 meg?
Oh, it's less than that. According to this, at least.
What is it?
This says 4 megabytes of memory, but 8 megabytes is recommended.
Wow.
I know. Typical hard disk space required.
Yeah, see, I don't know too much about computers that long ago.
Right. Typical hard disk space required to upgrade to Windows 95. 35 to 40 megabytes. So, okay, if that's actually what the system requirements are, I can see how this could only be 129 megabytes. So, one 3.5-inch high-density floppy drive.
Floppy drive.
I have an old floppy drive, an old IDE floppy drive that I pulled out of a system that a friend of mine had. So, and this is like one of the things, like, you never know. And like, I have an old like super, like, what is it? Well, it came out of that Dell Dimension 2350 that we made a video on, but I pulled the power supply out of that. I think the board died on that was what happened. So that system has been kind of disassembled. So I have some memory from it. I still have the IDE hard drive, which I'm going to hang on to. I think it's either a 40 or 60 gig drive. It's an IDE drive, and those things are getting hard to find. So if I ever do something with an old retro system, it'd be nice to have that around. So anyway, I actually took one of the old... Do you remember that blue colored Dell laptop that I had? The blue Inspiron laptop?
Not sure I do.
Okay, it was... that was a super slow one. I actually upgraded the memory on it. Put Windows XP on it, so now I have it as an old Windows XP gaming machine. I meant to do some stuff with that, and I never actually really did, but we'll see if we get there at some point. Anyway, so... Yeah, so once you have it running, it only takes up about 200 megabytes of RAM. And like I said, that's even running all the Windows 95 system utilities, apps, and games. And the great thing is, if you run into any issues, you just reset it in the app, and you call it good. So that's what's awesome about virtual machines. You can just reset them. So anyway, but we were gonna like try to mess with like tech support scammers. And I think we had developed a We went in and like changed a bunch of group policies so that they basically couldn't open the task manager, because you know that's what they go for. So it would have been kind of funny to see how they worked around that, because you know that they really don't have any. I would imagine they probably don't have much experience with actually fixing a computer or doing anything technical with them, just enough to make it seem like they do. So, of course, would you agree? Okay, to an average consumer, right? You start opening up things like the command prompt and the command prompt or the run box and things like that, and things start to look interesting.
To an average user?
To an average user, yes. Would you say that that's true?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Just even some people, you could open up the control panel and they're already going to think you're a hacker.
So, oh, okay. So this is interesting right here. Hang on. So, time for some Microsoft news here, right? Now, this is kind of interesting. And I still don't understand, okay? So, Microsoft has the Surface Pro lineup, right? Now, apparently they have the Surface Go? Is this like
What is that?
I have no idea.
Isn't the Surface lineup already supposed to be super portable and such? Really?
Right? Okay, please explain to me, Zach, what the appeal, and I asked this last week, I think. What is the appeal of a Surface Pro?
Didn't you call it a Surface Go?
Okay, no. Okay, there's the Surface Pro lineup, and now there's apparently a Surface Go.
What?
Exactly.
Why?
But
I'm so confused. Okay, hold on. I'm so confused because isn't the whole point of a Surface, it's supposed to be like a more portable laptop, right? Like it's a tablet. So how can you...
Well, no, okay, it's not a tablet, it's a 2-in-1. Let's get that straight. It is a 2-in-1.
It's not. It's a tablet with a keyboard.
No, it is a 2-in-1.
How is that a 2-in-1?
Because
it's too small to be a 2-in-1.
No, I don't think there's
it's
a size. Is there a size requirement on 2-in-1s? I don't think there is.
I'm not. Maybe you're technically correct, but
I think the term. Hang on.
I find it very hard to think of it as anything but.
No. Okay, I think the definition of a 2-in-1 is basically just it can be a laptop or it can be a tablet. 2-in-1.
I mean, yes, but come on, you can't tell me that I'm wrong there, can you? Do you really think of it?
I do.
To me, it is not a laptop. It is a tablet. That's what it is. It's just a beefy tablet. It's pretty beefy for a tablet. It has some.
No. It's a 2-in-1. It is a 2-in-1.
Look. I'm not saying you're wrong, but also
you're not saying I'm right either. You're not saying I'm wrong. You're not saying I'm right. See, this is
no. Like, I guess you missed what I'm getting at here. Like, technically, you're correct, but
yeah, okay.
I mean, it just looks like a tablet, right?
Right.
It looks like a tablet, feels like a tablet. It has a keyboard attached, so you can use it like a laptop, but it's pretty much a tablet.
No,
right? It
runs. Okay, here's the thing, right? Okay, a tablet runs a proprietary piece of software like Android or
that's not
or iOS.
Necessarily
that's my definition.
It's a tablet that doesn't have any effect on what it runs, right? It could be a tablet running anything, but it's still a tablet. We're talking about the form factor here, not what it's running.
See, I think the form factor is okay. 2-in-1.
Right, well, I guess we'll just have to disagree on that one. I still think of it like a tablet. I don't care if it's technically a 2-in-1. To me, it's a tablet.
See, okay. Because, 2-in-1 PC. A 2-in-1 PC, also known as 2-in-1 tablet.
PC, right?
2-in-1 laptop,
when I think of a
2-in-1
PC, I'm thinking of, you ever seen those laptops that like fold backwards and stuff?
Here we go. Okay.
You know,
hang on. Okay.
That's a 2-in-1.
Okay. According to Wikipedia, right? Okay. A 2-in-1. This is from Wikipedia, so take this with a grain of salt, right? But a 2-in-1, right, is a portable computer. Okay. And let's get this straight, right? So this is an iPad right here, right? Okay. This is technically a computer. It's got a processor in it. It's got memory. It's got storage.
Yeah, so is your
This
cell
is
phone.
technically-
So is your calculator.
Exactly. This
And?
is a computer, right? Okay. So a 2-in-1, as defined by Wikipedia, is a portable computer that has features of both tablets and laptops. See, he's quiet now because he knows that I just like... It's okay, Zach. Oh my gosh, there's Microsoft Surface Pro 3, a kickstand hinge laptop with detachable keyboard. There's even a picture of it on the page.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one, but and I'm not disagreeing with the definition. I'm just disagreeing with what I think.
Well, okay, so
but anyway,
in your opinion,
what on earth is a Surface Go, and how is it more portable, slimmer, and smaller than an?
Or is this just a new marketing
Pro, which is
term?
already small and thin and light and portable and like what is this? Is it gonna be like an iPad, like Android tablet, more form factor, like even thinner, smaller? Maybe it runs Windows for a mobile device.
Okay, here we
What
go.
is it?
Here we go. Okay.
And why do we need this? Who is gonna buy this? Well, actually, a lot of people are probably gonna buy it because, of course, they will.
There you go. Okay, so here we go. Okay, Microsoft Surface Go versus Surface Pro. What's the difference? Okay, I don't know if you can get the article open with your
coming up slowly.
Your current situation here. Okay, looking at the. Hang on.
Okay, I can see the picture now. So.
Right.
What's
okay.
the difference?
Because.
What is the difference?
Hang on.
I don't even see the difference. They look the same. They're practically the same.
Yeah. Okay.
What is this?
Okay. Yeah, and that's what
silly.
I'm looking at the picture right here. They look exactly the same, just with a different keyboard on here.
All it does is just a little bit smaller, and it has way less powerful.
So, okay. After long string of rumors and speculation, Microsoft Surface Go was finally revealed this week at a lower cost and smaller alternative to the familiar Surface Pros. Okay, so is it basically just a smaller version of the Surface Pro then? That's
well, it also has lesser hardware and it's cheaper. I mean, okay, I guess.
Okay, so you know what?
This
Okay,
seems like
hang
a
on.
reasonable product only because it is much less expensive.
So, okay,
the Surface lineup has always been kind of up there in the price, and this is kind of taking a stab at that problem.
You know what I view it as, and you can tell me if you think this is a good, good comparison, right? The Surface Pro, right, is like an iPad, and then your Surface Go is like the iPad Mini. Is that like a good comparison?
I suppose, although I don't really understand why someone would own both of these things.
Well, no, I think the idea is to have one or the other. But...
Right, yeah. But okay. Sure, you know.
Okay, so here's the thing. Well, and I don't know
what this seems reasonable. It's actually pretty affordable, and it's got much beefier hardware than any mobile operating system.
So here's the thing.
Tablet that you might find at that price.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing about this. Here's the article right here, right? So Intel actually reportedly convinced Microsoft to not choose ARM for the Surface Go, but instead actually choose one of their processors. So it's using an Intel Pentium Gold CPU, whatever the heck that is. I mean, you're the hardware one, so...
I don't have a clue what that is, honestly.
Which is one of the main focus points for discussion about this device.
If it's a Pentium, it's probably going to be a dual core with no HT.
So, basically, Paul Thorot?
Oh, look on ARC. Let's see what's in
Thorot reports that Microsoft wanted to use an ARM processor for the Surface Go, but that Intel actually intervened.
I lied. This has hyperthreading.
What?
I mean, honestly, you know, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that for the price, this isn't bad.
What is the price? What is the price?
It says $399 for the Surface Go thing.
Okay, and what are the specs? So we've got an Intel Pentium Gold CPU. Do you have
Dual core, 4-thread CPU, Speed, I mean, well, it's slow, but it's low voltage. I don't know what you expect. 8 gigs of memory, 128 gigabytes. I don't know. That's actually not terrible. It's $400. But here's what really kind of makes me think this could be a decent product is because it's it's kind of in between that tablet and laptop form factor. And for a tablet, I suppose you could argue the price is maybe getting up there. There are more expensive ones, but here's the thing. This thing runs Windows 10 and kind of behaves more, well, in software at least. This is basically a PC.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think,
gosh, I mean, this could be a decent product.
I think that's the appeal of a Surface Pro or the Surface Go here, is the fact that it does
Like it
fully
kind of
run
it
Windows.
kind of offers that I guess that laptop experience, but in a tablet form factor. It's nice and small and portable.
This is what I like about my little
thing that
Acer.
always put me off. The things that always put me off about the Surface was the price tag, and now the price tag is just
close to $1,000,
and that's great. That's the hardware is also slashed, obviously.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But okay, hang on. Let me ask you this though. And I don't have any experience with ARM processors. I don't know how much experience you have with ARM processors, but do you think?
I mean, my devices. I have several devices with them.
Okay, but let me ask you this question real quick: do you think having an Intel Pentium Gold processor? How I don't know, what did you say? Four cores, dual core? No, dual core.
Dual core, 4-thread.
How does that stack up to an ARM processor? Does it stack up higher or lower?
Here's the issue: is that these, it's not easy to compare a x86 processor with an ARM processor because typically you're finding an ARM processor in like a smartphone or a tablet, which runs a completely different operating system. So it's different. It's difficult to even try and compare it. How are you going to simultaneously bench both of these chips? What are you going to do? They're designed to do completely different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, well, Intel. Okay, so Intel reported.
If I were to truly give it a thumbs up, I would have to, have a look at it and see, is it just use it, like
see what you think.
Is it responsive? Does it feel slow? Does it feel lacking in anything? And if you can do general tasks and activities that you would do on this device without really feeling bottlenecked or slowed down by the hardware, then gosh, I'll be darned, this is a good.
So my thing would be is it has to run either Chrome or Firefox, and
this is Windows 10.
Okay.
So you can do anything on this.
Well, no. What I'm saying is it has to run it. It has to run it well, and I have to be able to watch. See, because this is the problem, right? So I have put Chrome and Firefox on lower end systems before, right? Tried to watch YouTube videos, and they just are horrible.
Actually, hold on now. Tell me about the systems you've done this. Are they old or just low end?
I mean, some of them. Well, okay, 2012, I guess.
Okay, and see, here's
but
where
here's the thing.
You're probably running into trouble with the graph.
No.
The
because
GPU.
Hang on. Listen to this, right? So I open it in Edge, right, and it plays fine.
Oh, and then it works.
And it plays fine.
I would say that it's probably a difference in how the browser's, I guess, decoding the video.
I don't know, but see,
I'm not too
I've
well
also
versed
well,
on
okay,
this.
but I see.
But I do know this is that if I had to go out on a limb, I would say I'm sure they have accounted for that. They know that obviously people are going to be watching videos and such on this, so this thing needs to have acceptable performance at such a task.
But see, here's the thing:
a lot of the newer CPUs with the much better onboard graphics are going to be just fine at that. Because the onboard graphics can handle the video decoding at even high resolution.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, okay? So in the store, right, I've looked at systems that have Celrons. I've looked at systems that have Pentiums in them, right?
Oh, really?
And I pop open the task manager, right? And the performance tab. And just sitting idle there, the CPU is running at like 70, 80, 90. Like, what is it doing?
Wait,
just sitting there.
And that's while doing video or what?
No, that's just sitting there, idle.
Oh, well, I mean, it's a display system, so who knows what's on it.
That is true.
I don't know.
But
I would have to really take a look at this or read up on it. But just at a glance, this looks like it actually could be a pretty decent product, as long as it's capable of doing things that you want in practice.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so it's got an Intel Pentium Gold.
I'm actually impressed. I'm actually impressed.
Hey, Microsoft, if you're watching, if you want to send us one, we'd love to review it.
Good luck.
I know, right? What actually shows up? Like, oh, okay. Anyway.
I do kind of like the idea of the Surface, but
yeah,
the price tag, can't justify it.
I like the idea of it. Here's my thing, right? So I do a lot of web development, Photoshop things, right? So I love the size of the iPad, right? Okay. But my problem is I can't do things like, developing web pages and stuff like that, because I don't even know. I'm sure there probably are apps for it, but like, an app for FTP to be able to upload files back and forth, an editor. It's just much easier.
What you're saying is it would be much easier on a system with Windows like your desktop.
Exactly.
So you can just do everything like you're already used to.
Exactly. But still have that small portable size of a tablet, which is nice.
I think this is a product worth keeping an eye on. Just at least when it comes.
Okay.
Is this out already? Forget.
I don't know. Okay. We're going to run over.
If this already is a existing product, this might be worth reading up on.
All right, so here's the thing.
See how it actually performs.
Right, exactly. Okay, so here's the thing, Zach. So we've got 2 more topics. These are really, really good topics, and I want to cover them. But we are sitting at about an hour right now. How are you feeling?
Let's just do it quick.
Okay, these are good topics, and I think these are things that you can get into. The first one we're going to talk about covers net neutrality updates here. Actually.
Oh, no. Okay.
So, but see, this is interesting, right? So, attorney generals representing 22 states and the District of Columbia asked a federal court to reinstate net neutrality. And they say that the FCC failed to properly consider the issues when removing the policy in 2017. So, basically, they didn't think of the consequences of what happened, and they just kind of rushed into it because, whether telecommunication companies were pushing them to, something else, whatever. But basically, what these 22 attorney generals are saying is that the FCC basically acted irrationally, and this should be reviewed, and net neutrality should be actually reinstated. Now, the commission failed to consider public safety concerns that could come from the loss of net neutrality, and public safety is part of the agency's forming statute. So, take that for what it is. Now, the FCC just outright also ignored a lot of clear evidence that ISPs aren't the honest lot they claim to be. No, really?
Gosh, I don't even know how you can attempt to spin that one. Like, there's just no arguing. There's so much evidence. That's like moon landing deniers.
And I keep
there's so much evidence that these ISPs are just the scum of the earth, and what? And you're gonna do what now?
And I keep coming back to this too.
It's literally listening to them talk about net neutrality and how horrible it is actually like worse than listening to a moon landing denier. I swear.
You're sure the moon landing actually happened, Zach?
Oh, yeah, they say it was filmed in Hollywood.
By the way, did you also know apparently the world is flat?
Oh, yeah, I heard that one too. And satellites are a conspiracy from the government.
Oh, yep, I've heard that.
A hologram.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, okay. So here's my question, and answer this question for me, Zach, right? Okay? Answer this question for me, okay? If the ISPs were honest, like we're saying they are, right? If the ISPs could be trusted to do what's right, like the FCC says, okay? Then explain to me, please, why net neutrality had to be a thing in the first place.
Because the evil FCC of that time struck down on those poor, helpless ISPs with the hammer of unjust regulation.
No, that's not, that's complete bull. No, if it wasn't a problem, then net neutrality would have never been a thing. But that's the thing. The ISPs, or the gatekeepers, as they've been referred to, started doing really crummy stuff. I had I had a graphic somewhere. I don't know where it is, but anyway.
Anyway, I do find that interesting that, gosh, 20 attorney generals of 22 states, you said?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. One of them being Iowa. I didn't see Minnesota on
obviously,
that list.
I'm no lawyer, so I don't really know the ins and outs of what they're doing. But gosh, whatever it is, it sounds good.
Yeah. So from 22 states here, let's see. So New York Attorney General Barbara Underwood is actually leading this, and basically they sent a brief, is what they did. But she was also joined by attorney generals representing states from coast to coast, including Maine, Illinois, Iowa, New Mexico, and California. I actually don't know if there's a full list here. Now, the following all lays out the states' arguments in an ongoing lawsuit against the FCC, which is also brought forth by, get this, Mozilla, Vimeo, Etsy, Free Press, and the National Hispanic Media Coalition. And several others. The groups also filed a brief the other night calling the FCC's actions a wholesale abdication. I think that's, abdiction of its statutory responsibilities. Whatever the heck that actually means. So anyway, the filing lays out the state's, arguments in an ongoing lawsuit against the FCC. Now, lawsuits seek to overturn the 2017 order by having it ruled arbitrary and capricious.
Say that again?
Capricious.
Okay.
Arbitrary and capricious.
Anyway, I think, gosh, anybody can agree with that. Any reasonable person would agree with that. The question is whether or not the ISPs and the FCC have enough clout to have this, sweep this under the rug, as it were. Because if not for their meddling, I'm sure this would be overturned by any reasonable person or group of people.
Okay,
but I don't really know the ins and outs of what's happening here. I just hope that they're successful.
Well, okay, so attorney generals argue that the FCC's decision will cause inadvertent harm to consumers, public safety, and existing regulatory schemes, and that the commission entirely ignored many of these issues when overturning net neutrality. Which I can see. Remember the whole we talked about, and I don't remember, we might have had some of the facts wrong, but it sounded like they interpreted a flood of traffic to the website as a DDoS attack last week. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
So here's the thing, right? So the obvious end of goal is to reinstate net neutrality, right? Which would be awesome. But here's the other thing, right? And I think the FCC tried to knock this down at some point. I don't remember if they were successful or not. But anyway, and you can tell me what you think, Zach, but I think that, if net neutrality is not a thing, I could live with this right here. And that is, they're saying that the court should allow states to make their own net neutrality rules.
Sure.
I would be okay with that. I would be fine with that.
Obviously, a nationwide set of rules would be better, but
yes,
what you're saying is better than nothing.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That would be better than absolutely not having anything at all. So, anyway, now here's the thing. Now, remember how I said Verizon did something really, really scummy, and you were like, "How could it be any scummier than it normally would have been?" This is bad. Okay, so I don't know how in tune you are with the news right now, Zach, but there was, I think they might still be going on, I'm not sure, but wildfires out in California. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh yeah, there's wildfires and things happening.
So one fire department's response was impeded by an unexpected problem. Any guesses?
Really?
Yep.
And what was the problem, and how is it Verizon's fault?
Any guesses what the problem was?
I'm going to guess that it has something to do with throttling.
Data throttling, exactly.
Oh boy, I wonder where this could possibly be
Well,
headed.
so a document was filed last week as part of a legal challenge to the FCC's net neutrality repeal. Now, in documents, Bowden, who is part of, I believe, the Santa Cruz Fire Department, I could have that wrong, but I want to say it's the Santa Cruz Fire Department. Anyway, he writes that the department had purchased an unlimited data plan from Verizon. Now, I want to pause right there for a moment, right? Because now this is another one of those we'll have to agree to disagree. You say that it's not really an unlimited plan. Technically, it is, but what most telecommunication companies are going to do is they're going to give you so much at a certain speed, then they're going to throttle you, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, in terms of that, and I don't think they're not breaking any laws. They're still giving you unlimited data. They're just slowing you down after you hit a certain point.
It's just like whenever I see any kind of like, I guess whenever reviewing any kind of product or service from one of these companies, it's like you have to look at it under an electron microscope to try and find the little loophole where they're screwed.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's what Verizon started doing, right? So the company started throttling speeds to 1/200 or less. I think that's how you say that. 1/200 or less after the unit hit. And they used a significant amount of data, 25 gigabytes. But anyway.
Okay, so
here's the problem.
So what actually went down then?
Well, but see, here's the problem. Okay, so because of the throttling, it actually had a significant impact on the ability to provide emergency services. Because responders
I was actually contemplating saying something about how earlier you were talking about how they were saying that it has something to do with public safety. And I was kind of thinking, wow, that might be a bit of a stretch, but we'll go with it. Maybe in some fringe case.
Yeah,
so I guess color me sure enough.
Yeah, so
even a fire department cannot escape the throttling of Verizon.
Yeah, so responders were unable to properly track and route firefighting resources, which
that is just ridiculous.
Yeah, remember how I said, okay, at the beginning of this, I said Verizon did something scummy, right? And you're like,
see,
oh, okay.
Here, you know what would be just the sweetest dose of karma is if the fire was at the probably mansion of some Verizon executive.
This is horrible.
The firefighters couldn't get there in time because they couldn't send the information to their firefighters because Verizon's network throttled them too much.
This is
the firefighters are sitting there, they're waiting for the map, I don't know, something to get sent to them, and they're like, it's loading, I can't find it, it's still loading, I'm getting throttled by Verizon. Oh, there it is, finally. Oh, the place already burned down. Whoop.
That is horrible.
Shame it took so long.
That is horrible for even thinking that, but I mean,
I'm sure that's not even remotely how firefighters operate at all.
Right. But I mean, no, it would be kind of a dose of karma. But
that would be a big fat bucket of karma. That would be a truckload of karma dumped straight onto their drive.
So again, what I said, okay, so Verizon did something scummy. Not surprised there, right? But then I said no, they did something that actually is like really, really scummy, right?
Yes.
But it gets worse, right? Okay? So Verizon continued to throttle them even after being informed it was actually impeding responders' ability to fight the blaze. So Verizon knew, and they basically said, nope.
I suppose we would say Verizon didn't do something scummy, more like something scummy that they've done since the dawn of time.
Okay, but see, here's the thing, right? Okay.
Effect on public safety.
Well, but see, here's my thing, right? Okay, so as an average consumer, okay, whatever. But the fact that they're doing it to a fire department, who is battling a large wildfire, who is relying on these services to keep the general public safe, that I think is crossing a line there.
Yep, of course it is.
Oh, and then it gets worse too, because just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, right? So because they were throttled, here's what they did, right? So the department then had to sign up for a new, more expensive plan before the speeds were restored. So, and
TLDR, throttling is bad, unlimited is good. Hooray for progress, down with Verizon.
I like that, actually. We should get that printed on a shirt.
Yeah, but instead of Verizon, just say cable companies.
Okay. So throttling took place after. Well, okay. Here's the thing, though. Okay, so this is throttling took place after the repeal net neutrality rules went into effect, but they've always done this, as we've talked about before. Okay. But the filing includes an increasingly frantic email exchange between Verizon and the fire department. Now, here's the thing, right? Okay, so now members of Congress, right, have demanded the FTC investigate into Verizon's throttling of firefighters' data connections. Multiple members of Congress wrote a letter to the FCC on Friday demanding an investigation into Verizon's data throttling practices surrounding emergency response workers. Which, okay, good.
How about surrounding everyone?
Right, but...
How about surrounding everyone? All right,
I would agree. But for sure, first responders, right? So Verizon wouldn't restore data speeds until they upgraded their plan at double the price. And they were already subscribing to that unlimited plan, right?
So now here, but we've got a deal for you. Here's the unlimited plan.
Right. Okay. So now here's, because this is a 3-part right here. So here's part 3, right? So now Verizon is like, oh, this has hit the media. We look really bad. Time for us to do some good PR, right? So Verizon says it'll ensure that this never happens again. Are they saying that because it's the right thing to say, or are they saying it because, oh, we got caught and got called out?
I wonder. I do wonder.
If I had to make a guess, but anyway. So, they have since removed all speed caps restrictions. Let me try that over again. Okay. They have since removed all speed cap restrictions for first responders on the West Coast and in Hawaii, and they plan to continue doing so for further disasters as well. Now, they've also created a new service plan, which is going to launch next week, so I would imagine probably Monday here, that'll cater to first responders. So it'll feature unlimited data with no caps on mobile solutions, and the plan will also include priority access. So,
and now we're looking at fast lanes here, where not everyone who pays for unlimited is equal. People who pay more get more unlimited. Wait.
So here's the way I look at this, right?
Like if you just think about it, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. No logical person would think that makes any sense.
Actually,
more unlimited? What?
Here's what makes...
That's not what unlimited means.
No. Okay, I think the definition of unlimited for them means just you have access to it unlimitedly. They don't guarantee any speeds. That's their legal loophole. Is you'll get data every month and you'll get unlimited amount of data, but we can slow your connection down. So, but in terms of fast lanes, okay, I am okay with fast lanes for first responders because I believe that they should have priority access to whatever it is that they need for the good of public safety. That I agree with. But fast lanes in general, bad idea. So, I don't know. That's what I think. I don't know. Do you have a different opinion, Zach?
Nope.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, would you like to, do you remember what that little quote that you said was?
Nope.
Gosh dang. Oh, it's okay. It's recorded. I'll have to go back and listen to it. It was something throttling, something telecommunication, something bad. So anyway, I'd like that, but if we ever do a merch store, we got to get that printed on a shirt. So
it doesn't have to be just that. Just like something, like, gosh, I probably actually wouldn't, but I would love to wear a shirt that just had a giant middle finger on it, and then a bunch of cable company logos.
That could be arranged. That could be arranged.
That would probably be my favorite shirt ever.
That can be arranged. Maybe for a birthday present. Wait, have we already? Did we already pass your birthday?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. Okay. Next year. But
I'm sure we can have. I'm sure
Christmas
we can
present.
have custom shirts made for anything we want.
Or yeah, I just had some made the other day. Or a Christmas present. I would totally do that too.
No.
I would totally do that too.
Oh no.
Zach's like, what did I start? So, all right.
We could have a whole line of anti-cable company merch.
We could. Yeah. Would that be? I don't know. Okay, so does that fall under defamation? I think, or yeah, I think that's the correct term. Does that fall under defamation, or is that still, or are we protected by our First Amendment right for freedom of speech?
Why would we not be allowed to do that? What?
Because there are, okay, so you have freedom of speech, right? But then there's something to do with like defamation and things like that. So, where you basically can't like defame, like.
What are they gonna do? Take away my shirt?
No, sue the crap out of you. I don't know. We'd have to look into
a custom shirt made.
We'd have to probably look into.
Yeah, I sort of doubt that.
I don't know. We're probably small enough that it would. I don't know. Whatever. Look into the legal side of that, but I think we'd probably be okay. Anyway, all right. That is all I've got. I doubt, Zach, you have anything else you want to add or not?
We're doing okay.
All right. So, with that being said, I want to thank you so much for joining us this week. So here's the thing. If you enjoyed our video and our show this week, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down. If it's more complicated than that, leave a comment down below. If I remember to, I'll try to get this. I think I have to go back and do last week's. I have to get it linked to the forum and stuff like that. But discussion over there if you want. Discussion down below. Get subscribed if you haven't done that already. We really enjoy it. Helps us out a bunch. And I think that's pretty much it. I got to talk with Joe. Make sure he's doing his weekly duties, getting the show uploaded to our podcast site. You can listen to us on iTunes and not anywhere else you can find podcasts, but definitely on the Apple podcast thingy, whatever it's called. So, all right, that does it for this week, and we shall see you next week right here on The Ram Show. Bye!